everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. This is our weekly show about board games and all things board games related with myself and a bunch of fantastic board game experts here to talk about things. But before we jump into the show, I wanted to talk about a couple things. First of all, Dice Tower Con is only a few months away. There are still some tickets left. And if you've never been to Dice Tower Con, I highly recommend looking into this. It is in Orlando, Florida. It is 3,000 people, all who love games so very much, just playing games and having a good time, open gaming. There's exhibitors there showing off their games. We run a few events for the Dice Tower. You would really love coming. And also Dice Tower Cruise, which is very similar. That's a year away on a cruise ship. It is almost sold out. So if you're interested in that, you want to check out Dice Tower Cruise. Check out Dice Tower Con for the .com for the con. Also, we've been posting a lot of live things, and we're going to continue to post live things. And one of the feedback that we get from people is, how do we know when you do things live? Well, we are trying to work on that. So now, if you go to dicetowerlive.com, it will take you to a page on our website that shows you all of our past live events, but also we're trying to schedule them about a week ahead of time, the different events that we do. Now, we're still going to do events. Sometimes we're just, the event is scheduled and that's when it goes up. But we're going to try to give you warnings so that you can see these events. We're also going to be doing events like these, not just on YouTube, but on Twitch. So if you go to Twitch, The Dice Tower is our channel name there, and you can see the events there on Twitch or YouTube. It's up to you. We might do some events just on YouTube. We might do some just on Twitch as time goes by, but either way, you'll be able to watch the different shows that we do. Hopefully this will give you some more heads up. All right, let's jump into the board game news. Okay, first of all, we have a new game coming from Hasbro, Monopoly Gamer, which we've already seen a Monopoly Gamer, but this is Monopoly Gamer Mario Kart. The first Monopoly Gamer was based on Mario Party, and it wasn't so much Monopoly at all. It was more of a fun type of game, and even had like little extra figures you could buy. It was okay. And this one looks to be the same way. Right now, you can only get it at GameStop, and GameStop's website's not very useful. I was trying to figure out if you could buy the extra stuff for it there, and apparently that's not coming out till later on, and it will be available from other places in a few months. Asmodee UK has bought Coiled Springs Games. That's another distributor and such in the UK. This news brought to you by your What Did Asmodee Buy This Week section. Let's see. The Stonemaier Games is going to be releasing a new expansion here, which you can see, 80 alternate cards for viticulture. This is going to be released June 1st of this year. These are not like additional cards, they're just different cards. I guess if you found that the winter and summer cards have gotten boring and you want more options for them. Also, Asmodee's Fantasy Flight has announced another expansion for Star Wars Legion, which, by the way, I've been talking to a lot of retailers, a lot of people involved in the industry, and it has had a very successful launch as far as I can tell. I wondered how well it would do because it's definitely targeting miniature gamers with a Star Wars theme, and it seems to be working very well. But they have an expansion coming out, Han Solo as one of the generals, and the Rebel Commandos. I'm sure that if this game does well, there is quite a wealth of things to come behind that. Rising Sun, which was just sent out to Kickstarter backers. Their first expansion is going to be coming soon. Dynasty Invasion. I really like this one. Adds a couple more factions that have their lucky gods that they follow. Rio Grande has announced a couple games coming out. Epoch, Early Inventors. This is a game you go back and you're starting out almost like an early civilization style game. And then Beta Colony. This is a roll-del game. Whatever that means. I think it's like a rondel with dice, but you're going to be rolling dice to be building it. And it actually looks pretty interesting, the game itself. There's a Munchkin expansion coming for Red Dragon Inn. Now, Munchkin is expanding its brand. I talked a little bit about that last week, actually. But this makes sense because Munchkin and Red Dragon Inn have so many similarities between them. It almost feels like a Munchkin game as it is. And then there's an expansion coming from AEG for Mystic Vale's Twilight Garden. That's going to add things like curses and such to that. So keep an eye out for all of that. So that's what's coming. That's what I got in the regular news. Let's go to Suzanne now for Kickstarter.
Happy breakfast, everybody! It is no prank that the next couple of weeks are going to be pretty darn wild in the crowdfunding world for us. Let's take a look at what we've got on tap this week, which is some pretty great stuff, and then try to get ready for next week, which has pretty great stuff too. Fresh from delivering their first Kickstarter, Deepwater Games is back with their Mystery of the Temples campaign. This is a small box game that packs in a nice amount of thoughtful gameplay. Players race to break curses on mystical trees by collecting and trading gems. These gems get stored on your gem matrix, which adds a neat bit of path planning. There's some engine building too, because as you break curses, you gain rune cards that can combo as you take future actions. And it features really gorgeous art. Mystery of the Temples is one of my personal favorites from the original publisher Emperor S4. You can get a copy of Mystery of the Temples for a pledge of $25 plus shipping. But this campaign also features two other great games published by Emperor S4, Sorcerer in Stones and Roundhouse. The bundle for all three games takes a pledge of $99 plus shipping. In Grant Rodiak's Imperius, the Empress has died and the minor houses are vying for control. You'll pick a faction, and cards all have a mix of attributes and abilities. Imperius is a drafting and control game, and you'll be drafting cards that can be your own factions or your opponent's factions or these other events. And then you'll fight over different locations by playing cards to them, both face up and sometimes face down. Initiative order plays a huge role in how cards are resolved, and events add a whole bunch of actions from control to sneaking peeks at the secret cards. Your pledge includes the Enmity expansion, but you can also add on the Empire of the Dawn expansion for $8. But a base game pledge for Imperius takes $25 plus shipping. Sweet Mess is a culinary-themed game about a dessert cooking competition. Players use actions to pick up ingredients from the bowls in the center of the table. Making a mess means that some of those ingredients spread to the surrounding bowls too. Use your limited storage space wisely, complete recipes, and unlock ingredient mastery to reduce the ingredient cost in recipes in the future. And keep in mind there are kitchen tools with a limited number of uses to help you out. Sweet Mess features player trays designed by Game Trays, and your pledge includes a totally separate dexterity speed game called Recipe Race that has its own components but still uses some of the pieces from Sweet Mess. There are a number of expansion add-ons, but a basic copy of Sweet Mess takes a pledge of $49 plus shipping. Dreamcatchers is a delightfully illustrated cooperative game in which players work together to thwart nightmares and keep sleeping children asleep with sweet dreams. You collect cards and use actions to get rid of nightmares or catch those sweet dreams. Different rooms and kids have different difficulty levels, and the player dream catchers, well, those characters have unique abilities as well. And while nightmares will spawn monsters that can lose you the game, treasure cards provide little boosts. Dreamcatchers is a lightweight cooperative game that has some tremendous art and snazzy wooden components. You can get a copy of Dreamcatchers for $39 plus shipping. Vinyl from Talon Strike Studios has a cool and unique theme in that you're working to build a record collection. This action selection and set collection game has players gathering magazine cards that have attributes that can match records. Turn in magazine cards for albums and collect those albums for points. And because albums have a variety of attributes, the set collection has some nice complexity. Additionally, there's a neat bump action mechanism in which you get an action when another player moves into the location that you're located in. And loyalty cards add secret endgame scoring goals for each player. Vinyl has an optional 80s expansion as an add-on, and the base game takes a pledge of $38 plus shipping. And last but not least, Dinosaur Island Back from Extinction is the campaign that expands the hit game Dinosaur Island. For everyone who missed out on the first print run of this neon worker placement and resource management game set in a dinosaur theme park, well, here's your chance to get a copy of the game with all the component bells and whistles. But you can take it to the next level with the Totally Liquid expansion, which adds a fifth player, water dinos, PR events, and a blueprints module that incentivizes specific park layouts, and more. On top of that, you can get the standalone 2-player sequel game, Dulosaur Island, that leverages the I Cut You Choose mechanism, combined with hand management and tableau building, all set in the world of Dinosaur Island. There's an upgrade kit available through the campaign for people interested in the shiny bits and pieces, and there's a variety of pledge levels. But Duelosaur takes a pledge of $35 plus shipping, and just the Totally Liquid expansion takes a pledge of $45 plus shipping. Alrighty, that's all I've got for you this episode. Surely something caught your eye. And get ready for next week because big things are rolling and I am all fired up. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hello guys, I'm Cardboard Rhino and welcome to Rhino Says Yes. Today I want to show you a humorous strategic game that gives you great ideas on how to piss away all your money. It's Last Will. In Last Will, the players are the nephews of a filthy rich uncle who just died, and in his last will he stated that the nephew to inherit all his millions will be the one who can enjoy money the most. That's the one who can spend a certain amount of money the fastest. So basically, you're trying to get rid of that initial amount of money in any extravagant way you can, like going on boat trips or buying a villa and letting it rot. The round starts with the planning, during which you take a spot on the planning board, which determines the number of cards you draw, the number of errand boys you will have in the next phase, and the number of actions you'll have. Then you can send your errand boys for errands, like taking cards from the ones offered, extending your player board, changing the property market modifiers, going to the opera, or getting an unknown card. After that, the players can spend their action points by playing cards from their hand and activating cards on their player boards. At the end of each round, you must discard down to 2 cards in hand, and properties that can depreciate do so. A player cannot go bankrupt if he owns properties, so the only way to get rid of properties is to sell them, which regrettably puts money back in your hands, so you want them to depreciate as much as possible. If a player has no money and no properties, he declares bankruptcy, and the game ends at the conclusion of that round. Otherwise, the game ends after 7 rounds. The player who has the least money, or even who is in most debt, wins. Last Will is a very well-balanced game with a super fun theme. Spending ridiculous amounts of money, I must admit, it just feels good. There's multiple strategies you can follow to win the game, and that keeps your engagement high. It's a very refreshing game that will put you definitely in a good mood. So Rhino says yes to Last Will. You should give it a try.
Two brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
What's up, man? Hey, man, is that book giving you a headache? No, it's R.L. Stine. It's not like sophisticated writing, dude. How about now? Headache! Now? Stop hitting me with the box, please. Combo! Okay, please stop hitting me with the box.
What? You getting a headache?
Okay.
You getting a headache?
I'm actually starting to get a headache now.
Yeah, you are! Bird!
Alright, so this is Headache. It's featuring the Pap-O-Matic system to get your dice rolls out. It's got a 1 die with numbers and 1 with a red thing. And basically, you're going to be moving cones around, or stacks of cones, to try to capture your opponent's cones by landing on them exactly. So right now, I'm just getting everything started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's inner and outer tracks you can do. And again, you're trying to work your way around to try to capture people exactly. Now, the cool thing is, if you do that, now they have less cones to play with. But I also have a stacked cone. And now stacked cones can choose to either move clockwise or counterclockwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. If ever you go a red dot here, you get to go twice. And that's really all. This is the funnest part of this. Literally the coolest part. You're seeing it right here. That's the best.
That was...
Headache! Owie, my brain hurts from all the Pop-O-Matic.
So thematic!
Here's the thing. I did not know that there was more than one game that featured the Pop-O-Matic system.
I know there's more than Trouble? I did not know there's more. I like that thing, honestly.
I think this thing is why we have the Automa system now for Stonemaier games.
That's... Yep. So what you think, Mike?
Terrible. Here's the thing. We are missing over half the cones, so we couldn't play a full 4-player game to really vet this game properly like we normally always do.
Always.
And so at first it was fun because there's a lot of cones moving around, but you end up weeding it down to just 2 cones chasing each other and hoping that you run into each other.
Yeah, you just have to roll the right number at the right time. With more players, probably be fun. And the little pursuit, trying to jump on top of each other, is fun for a second.
And then once you get a stack, you can choose which direction it goes, so there becomes a little bit of decision. But I mean, it's just a little pastime.
Yeah, it's not great.
Do check us out on social media, folks, especially at twitch.tv/thebrothersmurph. We promise we won't play the Thrift Store games. Night, everybody. So from the Dice Tower this week, I'm going to be doing some reviews of some other games. City of Kings will be coming out. Me, Sam, and Z will be taking a look at our top 10 space-themed games. I'll be reviewing Way of the Panda, Drop It. We're also going to be having several live events. I mentioned at the beginning of this, Sam's going to continue his Memoir 44 versus you on the internet, and Z's going to be continuing through his Arkham Horror card game. Also, there is a Dice Tower tonight. That is a live show that Eric and I do with a new guest host. That's going to be this Wednesday at 9 o'clock, so you can check that out. And just a lot of different other videos coming out. Also, Mandy and Suzanne are putting out an episode of the Dice Tower that'll be released tomorrow. So you can check that out. And all the other podcast episodes on everyone in the Dice Tower Network. And you can find out at dicetowernetwork.com.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games. Today, if you'd indulge me, I'd love to talk about something that's not strictly related to solitaire gaming, but just board gaming in general. I was talking to a friend the other day about how board games have kind of opened up pathways in my thinking that I don't think would have been opened up without gaming. People have talked about how board gaming can maybe help them with social skills if they've been uncomfortable in social situations before. Being in board game groups have helped them feel more comfortable interacting with others. And where that has not been my issue per se, what I have noticed is that board gaming has really helped me organizationally. Anyone that has looked at my work desk can attest to the fact that organization is not my strong suit. I am not a naturally organized person. I'm not a naturally organized thinker. But I have found that over the years, as I've played board games, my thinking has become more organized. And I really attribute that to playing board games. It kind of forces you to think in a more logical, organized manner. And I feel like that has kind of spilled over into my life a little bit. The person I was talking to, having this conversation with about this, was talking about critical thinking, how obviously board gaming can certainly help with critical thinking, and you certainly see that talked about when you're board gaming with children, and they're learning these critical thinking skills without even necessarily knowing that they're learning. It's just part of the experience and process. And so this has got me wondering, how about you out there, our Board Game Breakfast viewers? Are there aspects of your thinking or life that you feel has been kind of impacted through playing of board games? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you can let me know in the comments below. I find this a fascinating topic. Hopefully there's some interest on your end as well. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment From the Page to the Table. We're going to switch things up a little this week and start with the board game first instead of the book. So this week's board game selection is Potion Explosion. Published from CMON Limited, 2 to 4 or 5 players if you have the expansion, and 30 to 45 minutes. We call this Bejeweled the Game in our house. I run a very popular board game group for adults at my library, and when I brought this game there and taught it, it by far has been the most popular game that I've brought. It's super tactile, and you really do feel like the pressure of being in potions class, right? Where you're working really hard to fill these orders and these potions. Love the box sides. If you haven't taken a look at the inside boxes, how punny it is. Very clever, super family friendly. Love it. So you've been wondering perhaps what book I would have chosen. Now, of course, I could have gone with an obvious pick for this book, but I don't always like to be the most obvious. So, how about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone if you read it in its original from England. There's not much more I can say about Harry Potter other than it's Harry Potter. When we first picked up Potion Explosion, we felt that it really captured the theme of Harry Potter the best. Of course, we have Harry Potter Deck Builder sitting right behind my head over here, but you really do feel like you're Ron, Harry, and Hermione sitting in potions class when you're playing Potion Explosion. That's all for this week. I'll see you next week.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny.
And I'm Derek. And unfortunately, guys, we've got some news for you.
So last week, we were reading through the comments, and our Bippies were not betted on.
Our Bippies were actually pretty hurt by the comments we saw.
We were apparently irritating, annoying, and I think someone said that they were going to die.
Yeah, I think we killed a few people.
We killed a few people.
They died.
So, with our short time here, we just wanted to say thank you. We hope you learned some fun facts that you can use on your next game night. And thank you, Tom, and the other contributors for letting us crash the breakfast.
Yes. All right, so we will see you when we see you. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye. April Fools! So we hear you guys. We know that we're over the top and we're campy and we're weird, but hopefully you guys stick around long enough to keep learning some fun facts during our segment.
And sorry for just lying to you guys. Speaking of lying, this week's game is Chameleon.
So the Chameleon is a social deduction game all about lying or trying to blend in. So everybody knows the words but the chameleon, and they're doing their best to lie and deceive and blend into the background.
Hey Danny,
Yeah.
Did you know that the chameleon's eyes have a 360 arc of vision and they can see in two completely different directions at the same time?
Are you serious?
You bet your bippy.
Well, did you know that there are 160 species of chameleons all around the world, and 50% of them live on the island of Madagascar?
That's so sick, really?
You bet your sweet bippy.
And did you know that the chameleon contains chromatophores, which allows them to change colors once the message has reached their brain?
Really?
Really. Most can change from brown to green. However, there's a lot of them that can change pretty much any color imaginable.
Wow. You have got to be kidding me.
You bet your bippy.
Well, Derek, did you know that contrary to popular belief, chameleons not only change color to blend in, but they normally do it because of hormonal and nervous control. They like to contest with other rivals, so they might turn bright red, or they might even try to attract a partner if they're mating.
Well.
Wow. Their bippies are betted on for sure.
They sure are. All the bippies. So did y'all know any of those fun facts about chameleons? Or do you have any fun facts of your own that you'd like to share with us? Please do so in the comments below.
And make sure you guys follow us all over social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And we'll see you guys next week. You'll see us there. Happy breakfast.
Happy breakfast.
Welcome to another journey of a known board gamer. For a whole year, we're gonna play a game every week. And what did we play this week, Jesse?
We played this game, Kanagawa. It's by Yellow.
Kanagawa is it's a game designed by Bruno Cathala and Charles Cavalier, I want to say. And so the idea is you're in ancient Japan and you are training under master painter. So you want to create a panoramic pictures, create sets of cards, trying to get cards of the same kind, while you're also acquiring skills. So it's nice that the card has kind of a multiple use for the cards, right?
Yeah, and you're actually painting a picture, but you're developing your studio, essentially. Played it a few times, and each time was better. It's not difficult to learn. No.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite easy. The components are great. I mean, they're very descriptive as to what you do. There's a lot of cards that are spread out, but not difficult at all, no.
I wonder if it would be a little better with more than 2 players.
Well, 3 or 4 players would be probably optimum. I mean, that would really be good.
Yeah, it kind of got a little monotonous a few times on the drafting the cards. So I think I agree with you. Maybe 3 or 4 players would be a little more dynamic to play.
Well, the bottom line is you'd have more choices if you had 3 players, and even more if you had 4 players.
Yeah, I think the strategy would change a little bit, because as soon as we chose a card, then the other person could just pass and just get the other stuff. There you go. So the first game on our journey, Kanagawa, is not the first game we played together. We have played a couple games before, but this is the first game that we played, trying to get you more into board games. And hope see you guys again next week. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
So,
This is always recorded well before I post it. I'm recording this Friday, and I'm getting ready to shut the Dice Tower down here. It's Friday afternoon, lots of things going on, and we are not done working because Z is moving. So Z is moving from one place to another. We're going to all go help move. Something that is, of course, never thrilling to do, but you do it because you help people when they need help moving. And one of the things that's happening is he's moving his board game collection. And this got me thinking about board game collections because when a board game collection is moved, like Z's doing now, he's culling parts of it. So we're seeing the parts of the collection come away. Just because as you move things, as you pull them off the shelf, you're like, do I ever actually play this? And it got me thinking about moving games in general. First of all, the boxes from Home Depot and Lowe's, the medium-sized boxes are fantastic for moving games. You can fit a ton of games in those. I know this because I use them all the time for storage. But secondly, when you move games, it kind of gives you this new library of sorts. I've never known people to move, and maybe this has happened, but I've never known people to move. Like if you look behind me and see all these games, we have never taken these games and I never put them back in the same places. I always like redo the whole thing. It gives you like a new lease on life. That's how it is when you move in general, right? When you move to a new place, it's time to cleanse the clutter. That's why when people move, they have yard sales and moving sales, and people come and they get rid of things and they give it away and they sell things, and it's fantastic. And then you get to the new place and you fill it up again. But that first, when you move in, you're like, everything's new, it's clean. And that can apply to a board game collection, right? I can look at these games and say, oh, do I ever actually really play Timeline? The answer is yes, I do. But, you know, there's lots of different games that I could be talking about and playing, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe I should get rid of those because I'm not playing these much anymore. Do I really keep this? Do I keep this game? But what if you don't move? Well, is it possible to pretend to move? You go in and you're like, okay, I'm going to pretend to move. I'm going to be moving. Would I keep this if I move? Because here's the deal. If you're not going to play these board games ever again, then why do you have them? I was recently listening to a podcast where they talked about board games, and a person said, I know I have this game and I know I'm never going to play it again. And I was thinking, then why do you have it? Now, this person said that just seeing it on their shelves filled them with good thoughts. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. Maybe that works for that person. But for me, I want to see games here knowing that there's the possibility of playing them. But after a while, you sit and you say, you know, this game hasn't been played for a couple years. It's probably not going to get played for a while. Moving is that impetus to saying, hey, get everything together. Get it moved. Get it out. Right? But if we don't have that, maybe we can make that ourselves. Spring cleaning. It is spring, right? I mean, it's been spring here in Florida for months, but when I was out north, it didn't seem like spring had gotten there yet. But when spring comes, you have that spring cleaning to get things out. And I encourage you, if you have things and you're like, I don't know how often I play them, get them out. Now, I'm not saying to throw them away or to get rid of everything, but there might be other people who would play the games that you are getting rid of. I have noticed that a yard sale is not necessarily the best way to do this because people come to the yard sale expecting games to be 50 cents, and you'll say, these games aren't worth 50 cents. But maybe you know others who would like the games. But a spring cleaning, a moving, a cleansing, sometimes that's good for a game collection.
Hello everyone, my name's Annette, and you may know me as Netter's Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over the game of Uno. So Uno is a hand management and also take that game. So what you're trying to do is get rid of all your cards before someone else. So let me show you a little bit about the game and what I really like. So the first thing you'll do is shuffle your deck of cards. You'll hand out 7 cards to each player. They have different numbers and colors and even some special symbols. And then you'll turn over the first card. Based on that card, the first player will then look at their hand and try to get rid of a card that either matches the number or even the color. On your turn, if you do not have the color or the number of that card, you can always use a wild, which will represent any color. Or you can even give out this +4 wild, which will give the next player 4 additional cards to draw from. When you play that, you go ahead and call out the color you want to be played. Other cards that might appear in the deck is the reverse card, where instead of going clockwise, you'll go counterclockwise, or vice versa. The skip card means that you get to skip the next player. And the +2 card means the next player draws 2. If on your turn you don't have the color or the symbol matching and you don't have a wild, then you have to draw from the deck until you get a color or number or symbol of that type. If you eventually discard a card, leaving you with only one card left, you have to call out Uno. If someone calls out Uno before you, then you have to draw 2 cards from the deck. Play continues until one person has discarded all of the cards in their hand. That player is the winner. So as you can see, this game is really easy to play and introduce to anyone, and it pretty much plays itself. And that's one of the reasons why I really don't like this game. So Gizmo, was this an April Fool's joke? Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Hey folks, Mark here. You know, I am super excited about the Rocky Mountain Gaming Vacation this year. I am a full-fledged guest this year, along with Mike Fitzgerald and Dan the Game Boy Geek. We're going to be hanging out, playing games with everybody. And this is happening June 24th through the 30th in Park City, Utah. In previous years, it's been here in Colorado, in my neck of the woods, and it's been a fantastic experience. So during the day, you can do all those touristy things that you couldn't really maybe do at other conventions that are super busy. That's the nice thing about this, is that it's a really relaxing time, and it's a full-on week that you really can just enjoy the time and get away and have a true vacation that has gaming built in. And Park City is beautiful. You know, this was the home of the 2002 Winter Olympics and the home of the Sundance Film Festival. Lots of amazing dining, lots of scenery, lots of activities to be had, and you can even go do some whitewater rafting or hiking if that's what you want to do, or you can just hang out at the resort and relax. Just an amazing experience. And the staff is fantastic. They hook you up with games, they teach you how to play, and then of course Dan and I will be there, and Mike, and we'll be there playing with everybody, hanging out. I'm sure Dan and I are going to be doing some live streaming from the event, and we may even grab some folks to be part of that. So I'm really excited how it's just a small event, which is really nice because, you know, I'm used to so many big conventions where it's overwhelming and things are happening and you're moving fast. This one you actually get to relax and have fun and just enjoy the experience. And I'm hoping that some of you will attend and come hang out with us. So you definitely need to check it out. IcarusTours.com, Rocky Mountain Gaming Vacation in Park City, Utah, coming in June 24th through the 30th. So please go check it out. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Happy breakfast, everybody, and happy Easter as well. And because it's Easter, I thought I'd do something a little bit different and tell you about the top game I think really works for families when they come together. And that is Carcassonne. Now, as you can see, this is the big box version. It's slightly bigger than the normal one, by probably like 5 times bigger, but it does have a lot of expansions in it. So yes, it's slightly too big to get on the shelf, it has to sit on top, but it is well worth it, because for me, I loved the original Carcassonne. Being able to build that map out across the board, I really enjoyed that. The way you agonise over that missing square, that tile in the middle that you're hoping comes up, and maybe it does, and then it's a pristine map. Or it's left there at the end and you kind of feel that you've let yourself down. The game never fails to amaze me at how much new people can pick it up and play and enjoy from the very start, even if they don't win. People will laugh actively, like, wow, you beat me by 50 points. And you go, well, yeah, but I've probably played 100 times and you've played once. But after a few games, they could be screwing you over. They could be stealing cities from you and all that. So before long, you're kind of at a level playing field, which for some games, especially weightier ones, that's probably not going to happen until they're deep into it. Anyway, for me, the Carcassonne Big Box is definitely going to hit the table over the Easter weekend, or has hit the table over the Easter weekend, and I hope you guys enjoy whatever experience you have in the Carcassonne universe. Once again, happy Easter, and I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Hey everybody, it's Christina from Girls Game Shelf, and I got into a little friendly debate with my husband the other day about the etiquette around tallying one's final score. The question was, when tallying your final score, is it okay to check the other person's score, or is that poor form? And since we couldn't agree, I took the question to Reddit and Twitter, and I got so many different responses. And what was fascinating to me is that the responses were like 50-50, split down the middle, different camps. Some people feel like, yeah, check the score. It's fine. It's all a game, and it's about learning where other people got their points from and about like the competitiveness of it. And other folks were like, no, trust me to do my own simple math. And like, don't double check me, that feels weird. So no matter what side of the fence you're on, I think it's just good to know that there is some discrepancy about this part of our culture within the hobby. And that, you know, if you have new players to the table and or you go to a new group and somebody asks you to double check your score, it doesn't necessarily mean that they think you're cheating. It's just the way that they like to appreciate playing games. And conversely, if you do like to ask other people to check out their score, be aware that some people might take offense to that. You might want to put a positive spin on it for them. So in the spirit of this topic, here's a few games and kinds of games that I think always constitute some kind of a score check, no matter which camp you're in. First and foremost, I think we can all agree that nobody ever sees eye to eye on the farms in Carcassonne. There's always some kind of a debate, right? So games that have any kind of a confusing rule, it's always good to go over, obviously. Also, games with hidden scores, of course, everybody wants to know where you got your points from. Because while you're playing, everyone feels like, I don't exactly know how I'm doing. Like, I could be doing great, or I could be getting pummeled into the ground on this. And finding out at the end is always really fun. Stone Age is a perfect example of this. It's a really fun worker placement where you're in the Stone Age and you get to build huts and feed your people and do all sorts of stuff, and you just have no idea how you're doing until the end of it. Lastly, any game where you get your points from many different places. It's also called a point salad game. And there's even an argument over what constitutes a true point salad game. But for our purposes, I think Victory Point Salad also counts. And games like Seven Wonders, where you can get your points from military or science or the buildings that you build. Or Yamatai, which is a beautiful game, where there are specialists, but also the buildings that you create and any special cards you get that give you extra victory points. So those are some of the games where I would always feel that it makes sense to count your scores openly. So let me know which camp you're in the comments below, and that's it for me this week. Happy breakfast, everyone. See you next time.
And this is Dave.
And today we are talking to you about games for kids that are about 9 years old. And today we are talking about a game that is called, what is it called, Bo?
Monster Match.
Monster Match. In Monster Match, monsters have taken over the bakery and tried to get away with all the donuts. And we must try and stop them. Monsters can have eyes, legs, and arms from 0 to 5. We are only allowed to catch monsters that the dice tell us. So we are looking for monsters with 4 arms or a one-eyed monster, as fast as you can. When there is no monster, you can tap Zilch, and 10 new monsters appear. You get as many points as the donuts you retrieved. So Bo, what do you think of Monster Match?
Het is heel leuk omdat het heel snel is en er zitten dobbelstenen in en de monster. Dus vind ik heel leuk en de verpakking vind ik heel leuk.
Yeah, so there's dice in it. You like rolling dice, yeah? And it's a fast game. Yes, it is a fast game. And you like monsters, right? You do like monsters. And you like the packaging, right? The guys that made Happy Salmon as well, and now they have Funky Chicken as well, and Monster Match, all in these nice, well, it's not a box, but... So we are giving Monster Match 2 Monster Thumbs Up! Oh, ding!
Hey everybody, I'm Steve from Snakes and Lattes, and here we are at Snakes and Lattes Annex. Today I am talking with Artem Safarov. How you doing, Artem?
Hi, Steve.
From
Thank you.
Ultima Games. You might know that name from their previous outing on Kickstarter, Cauldron. And today we are talking about his brand new project, Unbroken. So now, there's something kind of interesting about Unbroken. What is the most unique aspect of this game that you think people are going to be interested in?
This game is for only one player and one player only. It's a dedicated solo game.
So, tell me about Unbroken. What's the premise of the game? What are we doing? I see dark elves and basilisks and troglodytes, so it is clearly a fantasy-themed game.
Very much so. What it does, it takes the most cliche fantasy trope and then subverts it. So a band of adventurers go down into the dungeon. We've all been there. The trick is that here they don't succeed. They are ambushed by monsters and they're massacred. And you barely survive.
So, how's the game play? What do you do?
So the game is a series of encounters that you have that allows you to use whatever scarce resources that you have, such as some of your cunning, or maybe you found some stabby-shaped pieces of metal along your way, or some food, to exchange them for other resources that you would really need in your adventure. So mostly this is a resource management game, which is something I'm quite proud of. Unlike most fantasy dungeon delving games, this is not a dice fest.
Right.
This is a strategy resource management game, and also risk management, because you're always playing with incomplete knowledge of what kind of challenges lies ahead, and you always have a chance to learn more about it at the expense of the resources that you have. It's very strategic and very challenging too. I made this specifically to be a hard game that you need to play multiple times to really get the strategy, and you will get better at it as you play.
Before we sign off, is there anything else that you want to tell me and potential backers about this game that you think is really going to grab their attention?
I think that this is a wonderful mix of a very short game, yet one that really packs a robust experience, and one that is not determined by randomness of a die, but by your decisions and by strategy that you develop. And it's something that you will always be able to play.
All right, so again, this is Unbroken from Artema Games, and the Kickstarter launches March
27th.
March 27th. Okay, so for all you solo gamers out there, take a look for that Kickstarter March 27th.
See you all there.
And good luck.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have one of your favorite games made into an RPG? Hi, I'm Colin Pastorius with the Boards and Swords podcast, and welcome to something. You see, Chris Renshaw, he hates this game. Carson City, I love it. One of my favorites. What I would love to do is take this and throw it into an RPG system, like where one person's the sheriff, one person's the renegade, and they're just running around causing havoc or keeping the law straight. You gotta keep it straight. And then you can have the singer come in, preventing duels, because you don't fight in front of the ladies. And, oh man, that would be so cool.
All right. So I know this was meant to be a joke thing, April Fools, haha. Chris hates Carson City, but that actually sounds kind of cool. And you got like Genesis you could do this with. Genesis would actually be perfect for it, even by Fantasy Flight. So see, like, mix in the Fantasy Flight, some maker of good games. So I offended him. But what do you think? Is there a game that you'd like to see turned into an RPG? Or what kind of system would you like to have it in? What type of system? Would you more crunchy or more narrative style? Let me know down in the comments below. And remember, until next time, you bet your bippy.
Hi everyone. This week we've heard the news that my hometown of Huddersfield is going to get its own board game. Now, as you may or may not be aware, I've been campaigning to get Huddersfield recognised by the board gaming industry for quite a while now. I've written to industry figures such as Martin Wallace, Eric Lang and Stephen Bonacore, trying to get them to re-theme some of their games to be set in Huddersfield. And now it seems this persistence has paid off, because this week saw the announcement that Hasbro will be releasing a Huddersfield version of Monopoly.
Oh no! What have I done? What have I done?
However, thankfully, there are other games that feature Huddersfield that are much better than Monopoly. Because this week I'm playing a game that Asmodeus very kindly authorised me to make a Huddersfield-based promo card for. Because this week I am playing Timeline. Timeline is a trivia game where the players have to arrange a number of historical events into the correct chronological order. Events covered by the game include the domestication of cattle, the invention of the folding umbrella, and the first space shuttle flight. And now with the Huddersfield-based promos, you also get the birth of Sir Patrick Stewart, the Luddite Uprising, and the founding of the Noble Order of Huddersfield Board Gamers Gaming Group. Unfortunately, despite doubtless overwhelming consumer demand, the Huddersfield promo cards for Timeline are not yet available in the shops. So currently, your best bet for getting one of these highly priced set of cards is to enter one of the contests that we occasionally run on the comedy board gaming quiz show podcast, This Game Is Broken, that I make alongside Matthew Jude, Dave Loser, and the Brothers Murph. So if you enter one of those, good luck. My name's Dan Hughes. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Daniel.
I'm Jonna.
And we like to say that, Tom, you're wrong. We think Ponzi Scheme is a great game.
We do.
And Ponzi Scheme, for those who don't know, it's exactly what it sounds like. Each player is trying to make the grandest Ponzi scheme, and they're trying to keep it going just long enough so that another player goes bankrupt before them. And while you're creating Ponzi scheme and promising investments out, you get these little industry tokens, which you can try to buy off other players. And when you do that, you give them this envelope and it has money in it. And they see how much you're offering, and then you can either match it to buy your token, or they sell their token to you. And those tokens are how you win in the end. Not really by having the most money.
And that's all kind of secret.
Right, between those two players. So, Tom said he didn't like this game because he didn't like the feeling of always like running out of money. Because I tell everyone this when we first teach them, everyone's going to go bankrupt eventually. You're just trying.
Runs out.
Everyone runs out of money. You're just trying, as all Ponzi schemes will, you're just trying to do that a moment after someone else does it. Because as soon as someone else goes bankrupt, the game ends, and you count up those little industry tokens that everyone's been buying off of each other and trading and collecting, and whoever has the most wins. It's simplistic explanation, but it seems like this game comes across as this like mathy game where you're trying to figure out what are the best, easiest investments to pay off. Yeah, how can I not go bankrupt? And that's why because all the mechanics kind of revolve around that, except for that one mechanic about buying stuff off other people. Right? And I love when I teach this game to somebody, and you always tell them like we are creating these Ponzi schemes, so we're all going to go bankrupt eventually. You're just trying not to, and they understand it. But then about 3 rounds in, it dawns on them, and they get this look in their eyes, and they're like, I can't win this game. I can't repay these loans in several rounds, and we're all like, that we played it before. We know that's the point. That's
in that moment, that's kind of brilliant. That happened to me like the second time I played, I think, and I just said, "Oh, we are all doing this the wrong way." But that's how you win. You have to take these phony bad deals with people and get as much cash as you can to keep it going just a little bit longer. There's no like long game in this game.
Right.
And you just, try to keep it going a little bit longer. And once you get past the realization that this isn't about making the smartest move, this is about taking someone for all they got, it totally becomes a different game.
It really does. And even like all the mechanics are very fit the theme of a Ponzi scheme. It's like basically a Ponzi scheme 101. But the metagame becomes another con game because you're kind of trying to con the other players into thinking that you're sitting on piles of cash. So when they try to buy your tokens off of you, if they
They're
want
shocked. They're like, I can't believe they bought.
Yeah.
I can't believe they stole that from me.
I offered you $40 for that.
I can't believe you had that.
And you still bought mine off of you. And
the thing is, I only had $45, but now I have their Chevron.
yeah. And so that's how you win, not by having the most money.
Yeah. And it seems like when I played it, the group I played with, everyone's like, they're pretty good with their money, just in like real life. I'm not the best. And so I was like, I'll play for fun. You know, I'm not going to be very good at this. I'm not a good planner. But then I realized it's not about that at all. And it's more about reading people and kind of seeing like how you can balance your little board that like it moves every time, and then the time that you need to pay everything back comes. You kind of have to, you know, wait that out.
I'm much more of a numbers person, and I lose this game all the time because I go bankrupt. I think, oh, I'm okay. I know these people over here, they've got to be going bankrupt soon, so now's the time to collect all these chevrons and make all these deals, and then everyone else is fine for a round or two longer than I am. Anyways, it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
And once you realize that that's where the game lies, it kind of makes the game a lot more dynamic and fun.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah. So we enjoy it. We disagree with you, Tom, but that's okay.
We'll still watch your channel.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Daniel and John. I think if there's anything we've all learned from that is that they are both excellent reviewers and shouldn't be reviewing games, right? That was very good, even if it was incorrect. No, but I understand all that, and that's fantastic. I know a lot of people like Ponzi Scheme. I don't like that whole spiraling into debt type thing. I just can't get over that. That just made the game not as fun for me. But still, hey folks, do you want to tell me I'm wrong? Send them in. I'll play them. I got a couple more that I've gotten, but not too many beyond that. So if I'm wrong about anything, a review of a game, just in general, you don't like my hats, whatever, send it in. I'll play it and respond to it. And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. We'll be seeing you live. I believe the next live thing is a live Q&A coming up very soon, Monday morning. So hopefully I'll talk to some of you there. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast.